Welcome to our discussion on a rather provocative twist in our understanding of John 3:16, a look into how eternal might not really mean, forever, but rather age-lasting.
Oh, wow. That's a heavy reinterpretation. So we're saying that the promise might be more about a quality of life in the present age rather than an infinite forever in the clouds?
Exactly. It's like, um, we're asked to re-examine a word, the Greek, Aionios. Traditional translations turned it into a promise of unending life, but it actually means belonging to an age. It's a
Yeah.
shift in perspective, really, from living for an eternal reward to focusing on the transformation of this very life.
So this reinterpretation, it almost sounds like it challenges how churches have historically prioritized the afterlife over this life.
Right, and that's the intriguing part. Think about it. For centuries, people were taught to endure suffering and injustice because, well, heaven was promised. But if salvation is meant for this very era, then our efforts should be on, uh, mending what we have now.
Yeah, absolutely. It turns the whole system on its head. Instead of passively waiting for, next life rewards, we're invited to transform our current reality. Does that mean our daily struggles are actually part of a divine purpose here and now?
Mm-hmm, exactly. It's as if the original intention was to spark immediate change, like, you know, making our world more just and nurturing by living fully in the present, rather than putting all hope into a distant outcome.
Yeah.
Remember, Dr. David Bentley Hart pointed out that Aionios really is about this age, this period, rather than unending time.
And that really does make you think, right? I mean, if the focus shifts, then perhaps the core message of Jesus was about liberation now, freedom from the cycles of oppression and pain.
Exactly. It's like, um, imagine you're in the middle of a storm. You're told nonstop that a safe harbor awaits, but then you're never given the tools to weather the storm. This idea suggests that salvation should empower you to handle the storm right then and there, instead of waiting for endless calm later.
That analogy really hits home. It's not just about escaping the storm, but learning to dance in the rain, so to speak.
Right, and this reconceptualization also means reading texts like John 3:16 with our hearts open to the possibility that it's not a golden ticket to eternal comfort. Instead, it might be a call for urgent, life-affirming change, an invitation to reclaim our agency in a world of injustice and pain.
I find it really compelling, but I do have a point of um, respectful challenge here. Isn't there still a comfort in the promise of a future reward? I mean, for many, hope in something greater than today's trials provides strength.
Oh, absolutely, and that's a fair challenge. However, the argument here is that relying too much on a distant, abstract hope can sometimes discourage proactive change.
Yeah.
It's like if you always believe a magic fix is coming, you might neglect to, fix what's broken today.
That's an interesting take. So, it's sort of a wake-up call to value the tangible, the immediate, rather than sweeping problems under the rug with promises of an eternal future.
Precisely. It's a call to reinterpret our priorities. The traditional emphasis on an unchanging afterlife can sometimes lead people to tolerate the systems around them, even enabling injustice, because it diverts attention from present struggles.
Right. And that has massive implications for social justice, doesn't it? If salvation was intended to liberate us now, it suggests a responsibility to act against injustice here and now.
Yes, it's an invitation to see the kingdom of God as a present reality, transformative, healing, bringing restoration to our streets, prisons, and everyday interactions.
Absolutely. It reminds me a bit of the debates around progressive theology, where the focus is on transforming society. You know, making this world better, rather than just aspiring to a distant divine realm.
Exactly, it aligns with that very notion. And interestingly enough, theologian John Wesley Hansen argued that by mistranslating Aionios as eternal, we've kind of skewed the essence of Christian teaching. Instead, if we see it as age-lasting, it redirects our mission to create meaningful change in the here and now.
So, would you say this reinterpretation might lead to a more dynamic, active faith? One that's less about enduring hardships with a smile out of promise, and more about, say, actively engaging with problems today?
Absolutely, exactly. It's like a shift from passive waiting to active doing. Think of it this way. If you have a limited time pass to a special event, you'd make the most of it, right? Not just sit around waiting for something else. That, in essence, is
Yeah,
what it's calling us to do. Live deeply, love fiercely, and work toward a real transformation, here, in our current age.
that really reframes the whole idea of salvation. It's no longer a distant reward, but a challenge for living a life that matters in every single moment.
Yes. And think about how this perspective might infuse everyday life with a sense of urgency and responsibility. A consciousness that, life isn't to be deferred but celebrated and mended right now. It's revolutionary, really.
I agree. It almost feels like this could radically change how communities engage with social issues, making faith more about societal transformation rather than passive hope.
Exactly. And when you look at historical figures like Origen, you notice that even early thinkers saw judgment and correction through the lens of transformation, a process with a beginning and an end, not an infinite torment or endless reward.
Right, That's a good point. It suggests that even in the early church, there was an understanding of change and refinement, not just static, eternal bliss. So, isn't it intriguing how a single word can completely alter theology?
Absolutely. It's, like a pivot point in the interpretation of our greatest texts. Changing one translation from eternal to age-lasting shifts the focus from an unreachable paradise to achievable,
Yeah,
tangible
that's so true.
transformation.
And it forces a kind of collective responsibility. Instead of thinking, I have to get to heaven someday, we're pushed to ask, how do I create a better here and now?
Exactly. It's a call to a kind of mindful activism, living as if every moment is sacred. Instead of sacrificing our present for an imagined afterlife, we're encouraged to heal, restore, and uplift our communities today.
Yes, I love that. It makes you wonder, what kind of miracles could happen if we all shifted our focus to living in the moment? Wouldn't that potentially make our world a much kinder and more just place?
Absolutely, and that's the crux of it. It's a reminder that the deepest form of spirituality might be found in our everyday actions, how we treat each other, how we confront injustice, and how we reclaim the power of now.
Yeah, exactly. So, if we're following this line of thought, maybe the real challenge isn't chasing an endless future, but ensuring our current life is truly transformative and filled with meaning.
Precisely. And that's why this reinterpretation is so, potent. It doesn't just ask if you'll live forever. It challenges you to think, how will I live right now? It's an invitation and a call to action, to seek a life of profound depth and purpose in this very age.
Yes, indeed. That really does flip the script on traditional theology. It dares us to be the change we wish to see, here and now, rather than merely waiting to be changed later.
Absolutely. And that's a powerful message for our times. It's like a wake-up call to embrace the sacredness of everyday life. Imagine if communities started prioritizing justice, healing, and empowerment today. What a transformative ripple that could create.
Right, yeah. This conversation definitely gives us a lot to ponder. It's not just academic. It impacts how we interact with the world daily.
Indeed. So, as we wrap up our discussion, let's keep asking ourselves, if salvation and life itself are meant for this age, how can we make every moment count? How can we, right here and now, regenerate the divine potential in our everyday interactions?
Exactly. This reinterpretation might unsettle some established norms, but it also opens up exciting possibilities for a more engaged and just life.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that perhaps our greatest miracle isn't an afterlife reward at all. It's the power to transform our world today, living with purpose and compassion.
Yes, indeed. Thanks for such an invigorating discussion. It really leaves one with a lot to consider about how we choose to live our lives now.
Thanks to you, too. Let's continue to challenge, engage, and believe in meaningful change right here and now.